the years to come with the global warming. I've looked at so many in the state of Colorado, and there's only one that's filled to capacity. The rest are receding at a very high rate. Ontario was emptied earlier this year. Third time it's been emptied, and it's very unlikely that it will be refilled. Cheeseman Reservoir, it's one of the primary reservoirs that feeds water to the Denver area, plus I believe Colorado Springs. Spiny Mountain Reservoir, the second reservoir in the chain, currently sits at 40% capacity. And the third reservoir in the chain is 11 Mile Reservoir, and it is one of the few reservoirs in the state of Colorado that's at full capacity. These four reservoirs are important in respects to data centers. Is that Ontario's draining highlights the stark reality of Colorado's water crisis. In a warming climate, shallow reservoirs lose massive amounts of water to evaporation. This forces water managers to consolidate, and they ended up draining shallow reservoirs to prevent total loss of the reservoirs. Or that there's this closed loop recycling becomes vital in the fight against global warming. And at this point, too many of the data centers have chosen not to have the closed loop. So this puts more of a burden on our water systems. This video is primarily about the data centers and the effect of data centers. I'm not anti-data center, but I'm more about is irresponsible development where it damages our society, reducing water levels and creating enormous amounts of additional carbons and going into the atmosphere. This here is the downtown Denver core site data center. And why this is significant is because the closed loop recycling, which means that it recycles its water interior. It takes a lot of water to cool the systems in the building. This is important because it's only about 10 to 12% of the facilities in Colorado have this. And because it's a downtown facility, that's why they chose to do this here. You can see it's nondescript, meaning there's no entry into the building. This signifies a lot of times the data center. And having it downtown like this, most people don't even know what this building is. So yeah, it's significant. It's good that it has the closed loop recycling, but the main issue to that, all these other facilities in the state of Colorado do not. They have open loop. That means all the water that it uses at any given time, it evaporates into the sky. And so why that's critical is because right now we have what's called ratepayers. The next would be the huge amount of electricity that's required to build and maintain a data center. and the effects that has on global warming. And the third is actually how beneficial the data centers are actually for the general public.
All right, here we are. We're at the state capitol, and I'm here to talk about two bills that were shelved in May of this year, 2026. As we can see that these bills, the first one is SB 26102 and the second one's SB 261030. And why these bills were significant is that both ended up being shelved, but they were shelved because of special interest groups. And one bill, that's SB 26102, basically has a couple of good things in it, basically to help against global warming, making sure by 2032 that these data centers would have to use utilities that do not add carbons into the atmosphere for global warming, which is good. And making sure that because of expansion, because of new data centers and current data centers, that the bill is not given to the homeowners and to small business. The one thing that's severely lacking from this bill, SB 26102, is closed loop recycling. Right now we have a stage 3 drought, and now it's no longer termed a drought, it's termed a ratification. And why that's significant is because it means that a drought's temporary, whereas a ratification's ongoing. Basically, to finish up here, why this is all important, because I've covered all the way from Granby to Hoover Dam, which is Lake Mead, Reservoir Mead, and currently it sits at the lowest, it's tying right now for the lowest in history as far as water levels. And why that's important, because the water starts here in Colorado. And in our state capitol, the legislators, I feel, are trying to push through bills that really don't govern the interests of the water crisis and what's currently happening. And I would like to see that switch. I would like to see that they do cover it. And closed loop recycling, we're talking about 98%, potentially up to 98% in water savings. I mean, water that's just not evaporating into the air, which is probably 80-85% of them, that's what they do. And it's an easy way out rather than building the recycling. Facilities would have to ante up and pay this themselves, which I believe, because of enormous amounts of money they make, they're very capable. They're extreme. So to help protect the water systems and ecology and the environment, I think that it should be on them to take it upon themselves to make sure they're not contributing to either global warming factors of carbons, coal, gas going into the atmosphere, and closed loop recycling.
HB 261030 basically is pro data center and offering them incentives and offering them tax incentives. Basically, with the two House bills being shelved, Next in line would be the Colorado Public Utilities Commission, where Xcel filed for a large load tariff. The biggest thing about this is that the earliest will be 120 days before it can be heard, their findings on it, and then if they choose, they can take another 130 days on top of that. Special interest groups, lobbyists, have been aggressively fighting tariffs, strict contract terms, and exit fees as being overly restrictive for them. Soon, Colorado's water systems will become one of the most valuable resources that we have. And at this point, what once was plentiful, that in fact our water systems are finite and no longer infinite. And so protecting these water systems becomes more and more important. By data centers taking responsibility to pay for their expansions of energy needs, and better yet, to tap into renewable energy, or best yet, build their own grids of new renewable energy, helps themselves in the long run. Yeah, I'm up here near the town of Pine. I'm by the Platte River. And I decided to come up here. This is about the data center that I've been working on. And basically this is one of the main rivers that supplies water to the city of Denver and also Colorado Springs. This water also goes to Nebraska. There's an agreement there, written in 1923, an agreement that get a certain portion of the water. It's critical. I've got photos that I've put in that show a lot of the reservoirs are they're receding, and the water's going lower from over allocation and from global warming. Before the year 2000, before the drought was officially declared for the western states, at that point, always approach the rivers and the lakes and the reservoirs as they're an infinite source. In other words, we're never going to be low on water, but that's no longer true. It's a very finite source. And to bring that awareness to people that what we're seeing here, we don't want to take it for granted. So that we can keep this. And so things like this don't go away. Closed circuit recycling, this helps the coming issues, and these are significant issues coming for the water systems of Colorado and other states. Because responsible development is the only way we can get through and defeat global warming, and also to fix the water systems that are dwindling, receding, and disappearing.